Clark's trying to pass the ball in the first 2 minutes of the game, and this woman swats at the basketball and somehow decides to turn her hand down and her fingernails and jab him right into the eye of Caitlin Clark. No foul call. No refs stopping the game to go, is this a flagrant? None of that.
Caitlin Clark received 17% of the WNBA's flagrant fouls this season, and 80% of those flagrant fouls were committed by the Chicago Sky against Caitlin Clark.
She's a rookie on a bad team. She's arguably the best playmaker in the league.
Caitlin Clark is setting assist records. She's setting rebound rookie records.
From deep threes to dazzling passes, Caitlin Clark has been one of the most electrifying players the WNBA has ever seen. But as Clark's star has risen, so have questions about how she's been officiated this season.
Say to yourself, damn, what is going on here?
Today, we're going to dive into a truth that has fans buzzing. Are WNBA referees conspiring against Caitlin Clark?
A lot of people are also saying that the WNBA needs to overhaul the referees, that they have just been absolutely awful this season.
We'll explore controversial calls, game footage, and whether there's a hidden agenda behind how officials have treated Clark this season. It's no secret that Caitlin Clark has taken the WNBA by storm.
Hi, Caitlin.
Hey, what's up, Caitlin?
Caitlin.
Hey, Caitlin. Hey, Caitlin.
It's Caitlin Clark.
Her rookie season was nothing short of spectacular, instantly making her a fan favorite. She brought new eyes to the league, sold out arenas, and skyrocketed TV ratings.
Caitlin Clark's final WNBA playoff game, 2.5 million viewers.
Appreciate you. And I think that what she has done for women's basketball, especially in this country, has been phenomenal. There is no woman, no matter how great you were as a player, Cheryl Swoops.
She became the face of not only the Indiana Fever, but the entire WNBA. However, with that kind of attention comes scrutiny, and lately, fans have noticed something peculiar about how she's been officiated.
So there have been cheap shots, there have been hard fouls, there have been other plays that haven't even been called flagrant fouls, but when you have the face of your league getting nearly 20% of all flagrant fouls called against her, that is an issue.
Throughout the season, Clark's games were littered with controversial calls.
Whitcomb right here.
Oh, man, really?
And that...
They have a review left, Elise.
It's tough. They have a rule.
From not calling fouls to blatant bullying being overlooked, it seemed as though the refs were consistently turning a blind eye to the veterans targeting Caitlin throughout her rookie season. This has been obvious to those willing to pay attention.
This is bad. This is very, very bad.
And now, the truth is beginning to be brought to the light. In a heated matchup against the Las Vegas Aces, Clark received a technical foul for what appeared to be a normal exchange with a referee after a no call on a drive to the basket. Fans were outraged, claiming that the refs were intentionally stifling her momentum.
In what world is this an offensive? In what world, the star player of the league, you call that an offensive? Like, what are we doing here?
One of the most blatant examples of this happened during a game against the New York Liberty. Clark was on fire, draining three-pointers from everywhere on the court when suddenly...
Here in the first quarter, Caitlin Clark pulls it back, knocks it down, her third three of the quarter.
She was called for 3 offensive fouls in the span of 5 minutes. All of them were suspect, and it became obvious to fans that something was off.
Caitlin Clark signals at the ref that Indiana wanted a play to be reviewed. The ref then says something, to which CC replied, "You don't have to talk to us like that." And then following up with, "That's so rude."
After the controversial fouls, referees were caught on hot mics making questionable remarks about Clark's gameplay. After the game, a referee was overheard saying she needs to adjust to the pros. This raised eyebrows among fans, as it seemed like the refs were targeting her, not just officiating the game fairly.
The offensive fouls are definitely surprising at times. I feel like I do get held and get quite a bit of contact throughout the games, and then you get hit with some of those when you take some contact and give contact back.
This wasn't just a one-time occurrence. Game after game, Clark was hit with phantom calls that took her out of her rhythm. Whether it was moving screens, hand checks, or offensive fouls, the refs seemed determined to send her to the bench. At first, some fans chalked this up to bad officiating, which can happen in any sport. However, as the season went on, It became clear that Caitlin Clark was being officiated differently compared to other stars. Even WNBA legends like Diana Taurasi and Breanna Stewart seemed to get away with more contact and less stringent calls. This led to the question, why is Caitlin Clark being singled out? Is it simply because she's a rookie, or could there be more going on behind the scenes? Some fans and analysts have speculated that the WNBA may have an agenda against Clark.
But women's basketball got on my radar, like everybody's, because of Caitlin Clark. And the other girls in the league are delighted for her success. I'm joking, of course. They hate her.
Could it be that her quick rise to stardom and the attention she's garnered has created jealousy among certain players, coaches, and even league officials?
It's not just one person. That's jealousy.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
So stop it with all the... nobody's jealous of Caitlin Clark. Angel Reese just showed you on television.
There's a theory floating around that Clark's overwhelming popularity threatens the status quo in the WNBA. Instead of being welcomed, some believe she's being pushed down, and the referees are playing a role in it. Many fans have noticed that she's called for more fouls than other stars in the league, often for the same physical play her competitors engage in.
Superstars are going to get a special whistle, and they should get a special whistle, protecting their one superstar who brought in more eyeballs than anyone else has ever done in the league. She should have a special whistle. Calls like this should be made, should be reviewed, because at the end of the day, it's not just the sport, it's the entertainment of the sport, and you need to protect your superstars, and the WNBA has not done well this entire season.
It's definitely upsetting.
Clark's confident style of play has ruffled feathers in the league, and it's obvious there is jealousy everywhere. She's not afraid to trash talk.
Against her today. I'm just happy we won. It was cool to play against her, and obviously a really great game, and like you said, this crowd was absolutely incredible.
And her on-court bravado has made her a polarizing figure. Some WNBA players have publicly criticized her, claiming she gets away with too much. In an interview after a game, one WNBA player hinted that Clark's attitude was disrespectful to veterans of the league.
We were laughing about it because she did it to her strength coach. She didn't do it to anyone on our team, especially me.
She hasn't earned her stripes yet, the player said. But is this mentality trickling down to the refs? Despite the questionable officiating, media personalities like Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharpe have come to Clark's defense.
So don't do that. Don't make it seem like she was averaging 5 points and this was like a handout.
No, it wasn't a handout.
Look at her numbers. Look at her numbers,
Shannon,
comparable to the other guards that were on the team. That's all I'm saying.
No.
In one segment, Stephen A. went on a rant about how Clark is being unfairly treated by the referees. This is a conspiracy, plain and simple, he said. The WNBA is afraid of her success, and they're trying to keep her in check. Shannon Sharpe agreed, pointing out that Clark was being held to a different standard than her peers. They're trying to humble her, but this is not the way, Sharpe said. When you look at the numbers, it's clear that something strange is happening. According to league stats, Caitlin Clark led the WNBA in personal fouls called against her during the regular season. She also ranked near the top for technical fouls, a rare feat for a rookie.
Now, if we say her stats are today, what? 20 points, 8.4 assists, 6 rebounds.
That's crazy.
But 5.6 turnovers.
Those are hell of a numbers.
But to me, that's not dominating.
Yeah, it's only not dominating because she's a rookie.
Meanwhile, when you compare these numbers to other WNBA stars, it's glaringly obvious that Clark is being targeted. For example, Breanna Stewart and Aja Wilson, 2 of the league's top players, had. These calls had a tangible impact on Caitlin Clark's rookie season. There were multiple games where she had to sit out crucial minutes in the fourth quarter due to foul trouble. This not only affected her individual performance, but also the Indiana Fever's chances of winning those games. Fans and analysts alike have pointed out that the Fever may have made the playoffs if Clark had been officiated fairly. In a league that desperately needs stars to shine, the referee's treatment of Clark may have cost the WNBA one of its biggest opportunities. Clark's playoff elimination was a pivotal moment in her rookie season.
Go, and Clark and the Fever season comes to an end. Here's Alyssa Thomas after the game.
I feel like I had a solid year, but for me, the fun part is I feel like I'm just scratching the surface, and I'm one that's nitpicking every single thing I do, and I know I want to help this franchise get even better, help my teammates get even better, be better for my teammates. And I know there's a lot of room for me to continue to improve. So that's what excites me the most. I feel like I can continue to get a lot better. And before we know it, I'm sure we'll all be back here and ready for the next year.
During the game, Clark was called for a questionable 5th foul that sidelined her for the last few minutes of the game. Without her on the court, the Fever fell apart, and their playoff hopes were dashed. The controversy surrounding this call sparked outrage among fans, with many pointing out that it looked like the refs had a hand in deciding the outcome. Social media was flooded with comments like, "The WNBA doesn't want Clark in the playoffs, and they're protecting the veterans." The question now is, where does Caitlin Clark go from here? Will the WNBA continue to officiate her differently, or will the pressure from fans and media lead to a more level playing field? One thing's for sure, if the referees continue to target Clark, the WNBA risks alienating its growing fan base. Clark is not just a player, she's the future of the league.
Caitlin Clark is clearly a catalyst for a business that was, and let's be honest, Caitlin to some degree financially saved the WNBA. It was hemorrhaging money for years.
And the WNBA can't afford to let questionable officiating tarnish her legacy. In the end, the only thing that should decide Caitlin Clark's fate on the court is her talent, not the refs. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more in-depth analysis on WNBA controversies and player performances. Now, do you think the refs are conspiring against Caitlin Clark? Let us know in the comments below.